Well, 14:55 is the time we scheduled to get away with our senior final. That's just over 5 minutes time, and let's have a look and see who these guys are. We've already said Max Verstappen on pole position, the Flying Dutchman. He's joined on the front row by the Great Dane, Nicholas Nielsen.
Thank you very much for your cooperation, and we will be back on track in just a few moments.
Row 2 sees Ben Hanley of Great Britain and Poland's Karol Bash. Row 3, another Dane, Andreas Hansen, lining up with the impressive Canadian Lance Stroll. Row 3. Row 4, Ben Barnicoat. He is alongside Dorian Boccolacci. Ben Barnicoat from nearby Bolsover in Derbyshire. Not very far from this circuit at all. Dorian Boccolacci from France, and I think the central Massif region of France. Tom Joyner from Great Britain is on row 5 with Mark Litchfield, who has raced most of his karting successes here at Paul Fletcher International, and all English row 5. Igor Stupenkov of Russia is on row 6 with Italy's Felice Tieni. Andrea Russo of Italy and Simo Larksonen of Finland are row 7. Pedro Hiltbrand of Spain, been a little bit unlucky in this meeting, but he's been a very solid performer. He starts on row 8 with another Danish driver, Kevin Rossell. George Russell from Great Britain is on row 9 with fellow Brit Oliver Norris. That's the elder brother of Lando Norris, who you've just seen. Oliver Norris, elder brother of Lando, is on row 9 with George Russell. Alex Palou of Spain and Sam Snell of Great Britain complete the top 20 on row 10. Nirai Fukuzumi of Japan and Vasily Romanov of Russia are row 11. Paolo Besancone of France and Nicholas Nuland of Finland are row 12. Karol Dabski of Poland and Frenchman Valentin Moineau, row 13. Sidney Gomez, all the way from Venezuela, is on row 14 with Joseph Mawson from Australia. Igor Valilko of Poland shares row 15 with Chang Wing Chung, Andy Chang of Macau. Another Asian, Takuya Okada, is on row 16. The Japanese driver sharing that with Luca Coberi of Italy. Now, we've just seen Alessio Lorandi come from the back into 7th place in the previous race. Can Luca Coberi do something similar in this one? And Armand Convey in kart number 8, excluded from yesterday's racing on medical grounds, passed a test this morning, starts at the back. He was second fastest in qualifying practice, only Max Verstappen going quicker. He's on row 17 with the 5th Danish driver, Magnus Ruud Chair. This will be a 22-lap race for the KFs. Ladies and gentlemen, it is round 1 of the CIK FIA World Championship 2013, and you're looking at Max Verstappen, the Flying Dutchman, from Brie near Maastricht in Holland, in the Netherlands. Number 5 you see there is Nicholas Nielsen. Only tasted defeat at the hands or at the wheels of Max Verstappen. Otherwise, he's had the beating of everyone in this particular event. Starts on the outside of the front row. Kart number 34 you see is Ben Hanley. Ben Hanley, 3 minutes to go. Ben Hanley, who was a kart racer of yesteryear, had a successful car racing career, back into karts, and he races for the ART Grand Prix team on an ART GP powered by a TM motor. Kart number 4 you see there is the Tony Kart of Karol Bash. Karol Bash is number 4, and he drives for the official Tony Kart racing team. Grid girls taking their leave of the circuit. We're less than 2 minutes or less than 3 minutes from rolling onto the, well, they're on the circuit, but rolling into their formation lap. We thank the grid girls for doing what they do best. Holding the hat on in the breeze, I think, is the answer there. Claire Mills just walking across the front of the grid. Claire worked very, very hard on the admin section of this event. Well, this will be the longest race of the event, 22 laps. We've just seen a junior final over 19 laps. This over an extended distance of 30 kilometres. A 30-kilometre race taking us around 22 laps of the Paul Fletcher International Circuit. Well, confirmation that Max Verstappen starts this one on pole position with Nicholas Nielsen joining him on the front row. Ben Hanley and Carol Bash, row 2. Andreas Hansen and Lance Stroll, row 3. Ben Barnicoat and Dorian Boccolacci, row 4. Tom Joyner and Mark Litchfield, row 5. Stupenkov of Russia, Tieni of Italy, row 6. Russo and Laaksonen, row 7. Hiltbrand and Rossell, row 8. Russell and Norris, a British, row 9. Palou and Snell, row 10. Fukuzumi and Romanov, row 11. Besson-Senet and Nerland, row 12. Dabsky and Moino, row 13. Gomez and Mawson, row 14. Valilko and Chang Wing Chung, Andy Chang, row 15. Okada and Corberi, row 16. And the grid completed by Armand Convey driving with a damaged thumb. And we've got a little bit of a strange start with one of the karts not starting, and a little bit of contact at the start of the formation lap. Well, hope that doesn't augur too badly. And is it kart number 34, is this? 44. Well, 44 is Tom Joyner, isn't it? Tom Joyner not able to get himself going. Tom Joyner may be obliged to start this one from pit lane. Tom Joyner, teammate of the Canadian Lance Stroll, may be having to start this one from pit lane. Might even be suggested he'll not start it. Oh, that would be such a disaster. And already it's been pointed out, it's Tom Joyner, kart number 44. Tom Joyner, who would have been starting inside the top 10. Well, maybe he will be permitted to rejoin on the second formation lap. Let's see what happens. Yes, he's being waved away. Tom Joyner may well be able to take his rightful place. Completely neutral in my race commentary, but I wouldn't want anybody in a World Championship event not to be able to take their rightful place at the start, the place that they've earned. Well, it does look as if Tom Joyner is making his way forward to that fifth row. He's scheduled to start on the inside of row 5 alongside Mark Litchfield, and he is going to make it to there, so long as he didn't incur the wrath of officials in the way that he moved back, and I don't see why he might have, so hopefully that's an all's well that ends well situation. Max Verstappen on pole position, Nick Nielsen joining him on the outside of the front row for this 22-lap race. We're here at PF International, Paul Fletcher International Circuit, home of the Trent Valley Kart Club, the home of British karting. Thank you for joining us on CIK TV. 22-lap final, round 1 of the 2013 CIK FIA World Championship. Coming up now, before your eyes, on screen on CIK TV. So, coming onto your screen at the top left, Max Verstappen, there he is. Top right, Nicholas Nielsen. The guys as they come towards you. Oh, and Max Verstappen getting a little bit of a punt there from Ben Hanley, who I think is saying, I've also had a shove. And the start is aborted. A lot of contact mid-grid there, and probably no surprise that the start is aborted and probably the fairest thing to do to abort that start. Ben Hanley popped his hand up and say, look, I've just shoveled Max Verstappen, but that's because I've been shoveled in the back as well. We go round again. Max Verstappen there in kart number 1 to the right of your screen. Nicholas Nielsen immediately behind him. And then you see Ben Hanley, the least active of the front 4 of those drivers. Out of the Mike Wilson complex. Coming onto the home straight to start again, or at least endeavour to start again. Max Verstappen to the left, Nicholas Nielsen to the right. This looks better, and we are racing, and Max Verstappen gets a great start. Going through with him is Ben Hanley, so is Andreas Hansen. A little bit slow for Nicholas Nielsen. That's probably been the least effective start that Nicholas Nielsen has made this weekend. So he's already got a little bit of work to do, to say the least, as Max Verstappen leads Ben Hanley into hairpin 1 on the opening lap. Ben Hanley backing off a little bit. He's in second place. Third place driver Andreas Hansen, and already trying to go up from 4th to 3rd. That looks like well, may have been told. Let me just tell you with certainty who it is. It's kart number 18, Ben Barnicoat. Ben Barnicoat was kart number 18 that we saw there. Well, 2 of the drivers are way detached at the back, and 54's had an issue as well, which is Nirai Fukuzumi. But at the front, Max Verstappen leads Ben Hanley. Kart number 5 in 3rd place is Nicholas Nielsen. So Nicholas Nielsen picked up a couple of places after that slightly disappointing start, and Ben Hanley putting the pressure on Max Verstappen. Max Verstappen hasn't led every race here. He had to work hard in his final heat of the day, but had a very easy time in the pre-final. Looks over his shoulder. Ben Hanley is there, Max, and looked as if Max might have been wondering if Ben was going to make a move. Ben said, no, I'm having nothing of it. And Ben Hanley being passed for second place by Nicholas Nielsen. And Nicholas Nielsen, the Dane, getting into second place. Well, throughout this event so far, it would have to be said, oh, and we've lost one of the karts. Is that 18, Ben Barnicoat? 18, the local hero, Ben Barnicoat, has gone out. 18, Ben Barnicoat was in a handy place, in 4th place, and the 4th place driver goes out. So, the local hero goes out, but Max Verstappen carries on. Nicholas Nielsen 2nd, Ben Hanley 3rd. That now promotes Tom Joyner to 4th. Andreas Hansen 5th, Igor Stupenkov 6th, Lance Stroll 7, Mark Litchfield 8, Andrea Russo 9th, and Dorian Boccolacci completing the top 10. So, Max Verstappen feeling the heat from Ben Hanley. Ben Hanley feeling the heat from Nicholas Nielsen. Nicholas Nielsen did not want to get in a battle for 2nd and 3rd. He wanted to be in a battle. In fact, that's kart number 5, Nicholas Nielsen getting himself a little bit out of shape. And Nicholas Nielsen's game plan would not have been to let Max Verstappen get away, and it would not have been to let Ben Hanley get between him and Max Verstappen. Kart 44, Tom Joyner going well in 4th. 5th place driver Andreas Hansen going well. A driving standards flag goes to kart number 19. A warning for Andrea Russo of Italy, who is in 8th place, gets the driving standards flag. Max Verstappen leads them down the grade onto the old configuration at hairpin 1. Ben Hanley has lost that 2nd place again to Nicholas Nielsen, but tries to get it back and does so. Well, all of this is playing into the hands of Max Verstappen, because all of a sudden there you saw the driving standards flag on television. It's a great scrap, and There you saw that hand signal by Nicholas Nielsen. He's pointing to Ben Hanley saying, look, let's race each other, let's chase him, let's work together to chase him. Because what have we done? We've given Max Verstappen about a 30-metre lead. Nicholas Nielsen second, Ben Hanley third, and they've traded places 3 times, if not 4, and the net result is that Max Verstappen has leapt away, and this is only the start of lap 5 of 22. Max Verstappen looks over his shoulder, and what does he see? Empty tarmac, and there, oh my, there goes a great move by Tom Joyner into second place. Tom Joyner going past Nick Nielsen into second place, and it's gone all wrong in the strategy that Nick Nielsen would have brought to this. First in his scraps with one of the there's a nice illustration of a piece of clean passing. Tom Joyner you see now coming towards you. Tom Joyner in kart number 44. He's running in third place in front of Andreas Hansen, who's in front of Stepanov, the Russian, in fifth place. Well, Max Verstappen couldn't have had a better start to the race, in the sense that he's just got himself in front, but with a good race behind him. But the guys behind have traded places so much, it's all worked to the advantage of the Dutchman. I'm not saying for one more, and there goes another move into second place, and that's worked. Nicholas Nielsen going back into second. Nicholas Nielsen going back into second place. George Russell sets the fastest lap, and he's in 22nd place. Would you believe it? A driver outside the top 20 sets the fastest lap. George Russell, kart 15. Well, sorry, it wasn't 15. George Russell is kart number 12. This is lap 7 of a 22-lap final, and Max Verstappen's lead is 1 3/4 seconds. You see on screen the margin between them, or between Max Verstappen and the chasing Nicholas Nielsen. Max Verstappen there. Often our television pictures foreshorten a gap, but I promise you, with the naked eye, that gap looks, as I swing round on my seat, that's 60 metres, 50 to 60 metres. And Max Verstappen really only needs to drive this CRGTM home from here. Kart number 5, Nicholas Nielsen, pulling away a little bit now. For the first time in the race, he looks safe, if I can use that word in inverted commas, in second place, because he's not under immediate threat from anybody. The third place driver, Stepankov of Russia, has gone past Ben Hanley and Tom Joyner as Max Verstappen sets off on lap 8. Underneath the Litchfield Bridge, Mark Litchfield, after whom that bridge is named, has fallen off my immediate attention. He's in 15th place at the moment in kart 31. And Besancenay, and no, Tom Joyner is falling down. Tom Joyner in kart 44 has dropped out of the top 10, having been in the top 5. This is lap 8, and Max Verstappen's lead is 1.8 seconds. This is not a race winning lead, because we're not even at half race distance, but oh boy, is it a healthy lead to have at this stage, not least when the guys in second, third place were trading places with each other, and now they're not working together to try and bring in Max Verstappen, because they can't, because the toe's broken. So a little bit of a procession now. There you saw the third place driver, which was kart number 34, I do believe. Not 100% sure that was Ben Hanley who we saw on screen. That's what I was trying to see. I think it was Ben Hanley. Yes, it was. Well, Max Verstappen, it really is now just hold your concentration. Nicholas Nielsen in second place. Ben Hanley, who we mentioned previously in commentary, going pretty well, but not in a tow. Max Verstappen through the S's. Nicholas Nielsen, kart number 20 was the driver, Igor Stepankov, who I didn't mention, in third place, as we've lost a couple of drivers who've had a little bit of a shunt, but that was further down. I will stay with the principals here, sweeping onto the home straight. This for the 9th time, completing lap 9. Max Verstappen's lead is marginally increased, I would say. The lead is 1.855 seconds. At the minimum, Max Verstappen is holding this 1.8 advantage. He's off the Lichfield Bridge. He's down the back straight. That's over 50 metres, that lead, probably 60. Second place driver looking relatively safe is Nicholas Nielsen. Have to say that Nicholas Nielsen, in the overall scheme of things, really, if he'd have found himself much further down than second place behind Max Verstappen, could have felt a little aggrieved, because there's only Verstappen who's shown him the way home thus far. Kart number 20 going really well is the Russian driver. The Russian driver is Igor Stupenkov. He drives an Energy chassis powered by a TM motor. That's for the Energy course team. As Max Verstappen sets off towards the half race distance, and as he reaches half race distance, he's going to have 1.87 seconds of a gap in his favour. There you see the drivers sweeping under the bridge, and you get a sense of the distance between them. Max Verstappen down to hairpin 1. Very smooth, as indeed is Nicholas Nielsen behind him, as indeed is Igor Stupenkov in third place. But then they're not racing anybody at the moment, they're just trying to stay in touch. Max Verstappen's lead no greater, but certainly no less, as we move into the second half of the race. 11.5 laps gone, less than 11.5 laps remaining. We move into the second half of the race, and Max Verstappen's lead is now definitely 70 metres. And in terms of time, let's see if we get a readout off the transponder this time. We do. He increases his lead from 1.8 seconds to 2.0 seconds. Nicholas Nielsen still second, Igor Stupenkov third, Ben Hanley fourth, Lance Stroll fifth, Andreas Hansen sixth, Felice Tieni seventh, Dorian Boccolacci eighth, Pedro Hiltbrand 9, and Alex Palou, the second of the Spaniards, completing the top 10. Carol Bash, who was a front runner early on, 11th. Tom Joyner, a front runner early on, 12th. Besançonnet 13th. Mark Litchfield 14th. And George Russell down in 15th place. We've lost several of the fancied drivers, not least Ben Barnicoat. We lost Armand Conves very early on, Kevin Rossell and Sam Snell. Well, what happens from here? Is there anybody who can reel in Max Verstappen? I say again, it's a totally neutral commentary you get from myself, Ken Walker, but I wouldn't want to wish any misfortune on anybody. But we're almost reaching the stage where you would be saying that for Max Verstappen to lose the race from here, it has to be a mechanical misfortune or a driver error. Well, the driver error is stunningly unlikely. The mechanical misfortune, we wouldn't wish that upon him at all. Maybe, just maybe, that 2-second lead is just diminished slightly. It's a minuscule amount if it is. Nicholas Nielsen coming under a little hint of pressure in second place, because Ben Hanley getting himself a little bit, Igor Stupenkov getting himself a little bit closer. Ben Hanley it is in fourth place off the podium, and kart number 43, Lance Stroll, the very impressive Canadian, in fifth place. Andreas Hansen still sixth, and there was no change of place in the top 10, although Mark Litchfield fell from 14th place to 16th on that lap, because George Russell went to 14th, Vasily Romanov, the Russian, went to 15th, and Mark Litchfield dropped to 16th place. He's just in front of the Venezuelan driver, Sidney Gomez, in 17th place. We're on lap 14. Just beyond the end of lap 14 will be the 2/3 race distance in this race. And Max Verstappen, it's really a case of concentration and just doing the fundamental things correctly from here. There's nobody to race, there's nothing more that you need to go for. Some fists being waved from the mechanics corner at various people. Don't know how I could interpret that. It may have just been an urging on, or it may have been a gesture of annoyance. Immaterial. It's hard to see what it might have been as annoyance, because the drivers are well spread now. Max Verstappen with this very comfortable lead, 2.5 seconds. Hard indeed to see how anything other than a mechanical disaster can strip Max Verstappen of maximum points going into Bahrain. Well, kart number 34, which is Ben Hanley, is giving a really good chase now to Igor Stepankov, fourth for third. Igor Stepankov is holding on to third place, but Ben Hanley's got a very, very clear sight of him in kart number 20. Just immediately behind Verstappen, immediately in the sense of he's the next one, but it's 2.7 seconds behind him is Nick Nielsen. Nicholas Nielsen in second place, relatively safe. But the third-fourth battle is a good one. Stepankov of Russia, third. Hanley of Great Britain, fourth. And Hanley knocking on the door. And behind Hanley, kart 43, Lance Stroll, the Canadian. They're the drivers who you just saw going through shot there. There is Ben Hanley. You see that kart number 34, Ben Hanley. You saw the proximity between himself and number 20, Igor Stepankov. 44 going through shot was Tom Joyner. This is lap 16. Heading towards the three-quarter race distance. And there you get the feel of the distance between Max Verstappen, already off our picture. Nicholas Nielsen second. Another big gap. And then we find Ben Hanley third. He's got past Stepankov fourth. Lance Stroll of Canada fifth. Hansen sixth. Tierney seventh. Hilbrand goes up to 8th at the expense of Boccolacci, who goes 9th, and Alex Palou, the Spaniard, completing the top 10. Well, this is the time, I say again, completely neutral in commentary, but I feel anxious now for Max Verstappen. It would be tragedy upon tragedy if he didn't win from here. Why do I say that? Not just because he's dominated the event this year, but he had something akin to a tragedy last year in the CIK event, the European Championships, and the year before. So 3 disasters in 3 years would be a little bit too much to ask the guy to take on the chin. He goes under the Litchfield Bridge. You saw him there. A long pause. There is your second place driver, which is Nicholas Nielsen. Nicholas Nielsen has quite a breathing space before you get Ben Hanley third, Igor Stepankov fourth, as I swing round and look where Max Verstappen is. Well, possibly Max Verstappen. Let's have a look what the screen's telling us. He's just done a 54.547. There's nobody gone any, that was not just done, sorry, as set a fastest lap of that. That is the fastest lap of the race. Just seeing if anybody's going quick at the present time. No, in the second sector, the only guy going anything like akin to Max Verstappen is Andreas Hansen, and he's back in sixth place. Lance Stroll in 5th. We're on lap 18. That's Nicholas Nielsen you see on your screen. That is Ben Hanley. That is Igor Stepanov. Then behind Igor Stepanov was Lance Stroll, the Canadian, on the Birel. Lance, on the Zanardi, powered by the TM. Andreas Hansen and Felice Tierney are the guys behind them in 6th and 7th respectively, as Max Verstappen's lead goes up to 3.1 seconds. We're on lap 19 of 22. We're in the late stages, and there's only one of two things can happen from here. Max Verstappen just nurses his machine home to a deserved victory, or an utter disaster to befall the Dutchman. And as I said moments ago, it happened to him last year, and it happened the year before. We don't wish a 3 in 3. There is Max Verstappen, setting off now on lap 20. Big gap to Nicholas Nielsen. And if they did finish in this order, you would have to say that Max Verstappen has been clearly the best driver in this competition, and Nicholas Nielsen has been the next best driver in the competition. Ben Hanley in 3rd place at the moment is in a podium position. He's had his ups and downs, but when it mattered, the 22-lap final, he's got himself 2.5 laps from home in a podium position. Ben Hanley 3rd, Stepankov of Russia 4th, Stroll of Canada 5th, Hansen of Denmark 6th, Tierney Italy 7th, Hilbrand of Spain 8th, Boccolacci of France 9, and Palou of Spain completing the top 10. Tom Joyner dropped to 12th, George Russell to 13th. They may not make the top 10. They'll certainly not make the podium. We're on lap 20. In fact, make that lap 21 for Max Verstappen and Nick Nielsen. Well, as we look again out of the window as well as the screen, it's hard to see now where any kind of challenge is going to be made because the guys are well spread. It's just that final podium position that might be up for grabs. Max Verstappen leads, Nicholas Nielsen second, Ben Hanley is in third place. And is there any, let me try and give you a naked eye read. That's about 5 lengths between Ben Hanley third and Igor Stepankov, the Russian, in fourth place. So Stepankov, he's got about 3 lengths to make up on Ben Hanley and then to execute the pass. But this is the start of lap 21. No, it's the start of lap 22. It's the last lap. It's the last lap. Let's stay with Max Verstappen. The guys who I was talking about there, our television director picking up on my prompt. But Max Verstappen now just with another 1,000 metres to go. Coming down to hairpin 1 here at PF, inclines his head to the right. You see him in shot nicely there. It's a smooth drive. It's bound to be smooth. There's nobody putting pressure on him. His father Jos is here. Jos, as well as scoring points in Formula 1, was of course a CIK European champion. Well, Max is 15 years of age and has already won more European championships than his father Jos. And now going to add the first round of the 2013 CIK FIA World Championship. Max Verstappen wins it. Max Verstappen wins it. In second place, it's Nicholas Nielsen. Third place, Ben Hanley. Going through in fourth place, Igor Stepanov. Fifth is Lance Stroll. Sixth is Andreas Hansen. Seventh, Felice Tieni. Eighth, Pedro Hildebrand. Ninth, Dorian Boccolacci. And 10th, Alex Palou. We're watching Max Verstappen at the start of the race on the left of your screen. We go racing, and Nikolai Nielsen not getting such a good start because Max Verstappen led there from Ben Hanley and Andreas Hansen. And this was a narrow lead at this early stage, and it looked to me as if Max Verstappen was under a fair bit of pressure. But then the guys in second and third started trading places, as you can see, and they're all pointing the same guys. Don't let's race each other. Let's stay with him. Let's stay with the, yeah, Ben Hanley there. Oh my. Nicholas Nielsen tapping his head as saying, use your head. Don't let's let him get away. But the damage is done. Max Verstappen's already got a 20-metre lead at this point. That's Tom Joyner in kart number 44 you're looking at. Nice little piece of passing by Lance Stroll, his teammate in kart 43. And while we're watching all of this good passing, Max Verstappen says, hey guys, as Tom Joyner leaves the circuit briefly there, Max Verstappen saying, guys, you race amongst yourselves, that's fine by me. I'm just going to kick on from here, and from here I'm going to establish a lead which you will never reach me. There he is, Max Verstappen, pretty much on his own, takes the checkered flag, wins by a margin of 2.8 seconds, and that's a maximum score that he will take to Bahrain in the round 2 of the 2013 CIK FIA World Championship. Max Verstappen breaks the hoodoo at PFI. Nicholas Nielsen deserving of his runner-up position. Ben Hanley also well in contention in the World Championship. Stepankov has driven well in fourth place. So has the Canadian Lance Stroll. He's been flying at times. Andreas Hansen deserved no less than 6th. Tieni 7th, Hildebrand 8th, Boccolacci 9th, and in 10th place Palou. Outside the top 10, Tom Joyner disappointed a little bit in 12th. George Russell likewise in 13th, not making the top 10. Mark Litchfield on his home track probably will feel disappointed with 19th place. Joseph Mawson of Australia doesn't make the top 20, but it could have been a lot worse. Could have been a lot worse. Armand Convey was past fit to drive after yesterday being ruled out by the doctor, but sadly for Armand Convey, the race didn't last very long. He went out very early. Well, Max Verstappen, you see there sitting, the driver nearest to you is Nicholas Nielsen. Then Max Verstappen sitting. I don't at the moment see the third place driver, Ben Hanley. I think the reason I don't see him is that he's not there. which is as clear a reason as you might get. And there is one of our ART GP drivers, was it, if I'm interpreting that colour right? The 104 kart that you see there is Enam Ahmed's kart from the junior class to the middle right. And here's Ben Hanley trotting in, the third place driver. So, the rather handsome vehicle that takes the drivers on their lap of honour. Nearest driver to you is Nicholas Nielsen, the runner-up, second in the World Championship. Coming onto the home straight first of all, as our photographers get this rather nice shot. In the middle, Max Verstappen, looking a lot happier than he has done on recent visits to Paul Fletcher International, and Ben Hanley giving us local representation in the UK here at this first World Championship round in England in 45 years. First World Championship round in the United Kingdom in 18 years. That was in Scotland at Knock Hill, but you have to go back 45 years to the last round in England. Max Verstappen spotting teammates, Nicholas Nielsen, looking pretty pleased, isn't he? Ben Hanley making an extravagant smile, so he's fairly happy with his podium place, it seems. Under the Lichfield Bridge. And how about that for innovative photo taking by the Italian photojournalist? Lifting the camera up above the car. Well done to the marshals, well done to the flag marshals. They've done tremendously well all weekend here and giving these three podium drivers the recognition they deserve. Off the Lichfield Bridge, as out of sight, a slightly less happy sight is the recovery wagon bringing one or two drivers in. I can spot Andy Chang there from Macau, China. My friends in China, if you're tuned in, guys from the AAMC, I promise you, Andy Chang has driven magnificently, but it just went wrong for him in the final, and he went out with 7 laps remaining. After 7 laps. Max Verstappen, no such hard luck story. Nicholas Nielsen got what he deserved, no worse than second overall. And Ben Hanley probably feels, yeah, I've only come third, but I was never close to Max, and Nick Nielsen probably quicker than me throughout as well. Well, they've got plenty of sporting chat, it would seem, as the car making its way through the Mike Wilson complex. I'd like to think that my friend Mike Wilson had been tuning in, and if you were tuned in, Mike, hope things are going well for you. One of these drivers, potentially a world champion this year. Mike Wilson, of course, a world champion 6 times. How dominant in the sport was that? So, I think that's Francesco getting the photos and the guys being walked through to the podium area. Do stay with us, do stay tuned with us on CIK TV. We are going to cover the podium ceremony. Well, once again, we shall have Kai Oberheider, the CIK FIA Executive Secretary, presenting the trophy to the winner, Max Verstappen. Colin Hilton, Chairman of the MSA Kart Committee, will present the second place trophy to Nicholas Nielsen. And John Ryan, the MSA Technical Executive, will present the third place trophy to fellow Brit Ben Hanley. And the highest placed UK driver in the final is getting a trophy and £500 cash, sponsored by Cosmetic Gasket, and the award will be presented by Jack Harvey. Jack Harvey, who lives very local to this particular circuit from Lincoln. And just look over the shoulder to my left, and Harvey Fabrication have an advert. And Harvey Fabrication, his father and his uncle. So it'd be good to see Jack Harvey back, and good to know that his car racing career is in good order. Came third, I think, he won. He won at Silverstone in GP3, didn't he? Won at Silverstone in GP3. Had a little message to that effect earlier on. Won the GP3 race at Silverstone, Jack Harvey is. Nigel Edwards, I think, leaving the circuit. Our clerk of the course. Okay, we're down at the podium. The attractive grid girls are there. And once again, Mr. John Ryan, Mr. Colin Hilton and Mr. Kai Oberheider, the gentlemen who will make this presentation. So, coming on to the podium, the third step from the United Kingdom is Ben Hanley.
Finishing as today's runner-up from Denmark, Nicholas Nielsen.
In second place from Denmark is Nicholas Nielsen. But the winner from the Netherlands, dominated throughout, the worthy winner, it's Max Verstappen. Max Verstappen makes his way to the top step of the podium. Handshake for Ben, handshake for Nicholas.
Presenting third place driver Ben Hanley with his trophy from the MSA Technical Executive in the UK.
And Mr. John Ryan, the MSA Technical Executive, presents the third place trophy to Ben Hanley. Applause.
Second place driver Nicholas Nielsen with his runner-up trophy. The chairman of the MSA Kart
Mr. Colin Hilton, the chairman of the MSA Kart Committee, presents the second place trophy to Nicholas Nielsen. The MSA, incidentally, the Motorsports Association, the governing body of motorsport here in the United Kingdom. But the winner's trophy being presented by Kai Oberheider, the CIK FIA Executive Secretary. Handshakes to Ben, handshakes to Nicholas, the trophy to Max. And a pat on the shoulder as well. Well done, Kai. Well done, Max. And there was Max taking the checkered flag that led to that top step of the podium. Max Verstappen goes to Bahrain for the second and concluding round of this championship with a maximum score. Are we looking at the 2013 champion? The world champion 2013? Possibly. The national anthem now of the Netherlands. Yes, applause for the Dutch national anthem and applause for Max Verstappen, and correctly so. Well, it's photo time down at the podium now. The guys have their trophies, the guys have their flowers, and perhaps best of all for them, they're joined by the lovely ladies. Well done, the grid girls. Well done, the three drivers.
Precedence first.